Alright guys, here I have your standard Step 3 on PokerStars, an $82. And right now I'm just going to go ahead and take a look at the table and see if I recognize anybody, and I do not. This is probably a late game Easter time. I don't really recognize the players here. It's probably like the Euro peak hours, so I'm just going to assume that everybody's fish. We can go ahead and get started. Now 3-7 here, I'm not going to get carried away. If you're not familiar with my other steps here, I'm just going to give you a quick basic rundown of what we're really going to be playing early position. We're going to be limping in small mid-pocket pairs, and so I'm going to be looking to set mine. It's going to start a chain reaction, and everybody's pretty much going to probably limp behind, and it's going to give us an opportunity to stack our opponent pretty easily when we hit our set. Now we can raise up all our premiums, ace queen, ace king, which gets most people in trouble. I'm going to talk about real quick. Ace queen, we can go ahead and polarize our range, and by doing so we can either limp or raise. We can mix it up, it's not really a big deal. Ace king, you're obviously going to raise it up from early position, and your standard 3x is going to apply pretty much everywhere. When we start raising our pocket pairs, it's probably going to be around like the hijack, or around mid position or so. So let's go ahead and browse through the hands, and 7-3 is obviously not going to be one of those hands that I just mentioned. Go ahead and skip that. Ace-2, it's not going to work either. And this guy comes in for 4x. You're going to see the play is pretty bad overall, especially when I don't recognize anybody. Here we have 9-10 suited, and this is a perfect example. You have one player limping and other players limp behind. And this is why we limp pocket pairs early on. Sets like a little chain reaction, and we can stack opponents pretty easily. So this is exactly what we want to see. We have 9-10 suited, which is a really good speculative hand, and we have many players in the pot, so if we do slam the flop, we can probably seek value, but be aware again that these players can be limping in pocket pairs, so if you do hit the flop, be kind of cautious. We don't want to be stacking off too wide. They definitely have their pocket pairs in their ranges, and they can easily flop a set on us. However, this is not the flop that we want to see, so we can safely get away from this pretty easily. This guy goes ahead and fires a $100 bet into the 120 pot, so he probably has something pretty good. Deuce 8, if it folds around to us, we're just going to let it go. Again, we're just really trying to preserve our stack. Something not making hang, and it's going to get you in trouble pretty much for the most part. Alright, we have 7 deuce here, and my raising from this position is going to be suited connectors, Broadway cards, your premiums, your pocket pairs, all that stuff. Obviously not 7 deuce or any of that crap. We're not really trying to look to get that carried away. Alright, ace 4, we're not going to be raising this. If it was ace 4 suited, I would say that you can raise it up, but in this case, definitely not. And it goes blind versus blind, and we don't get to a showdown. Just kind of look to see what everybody has. Alright, this player comes in for a 3x under the gun, and he calls. Now we're going to go ahead and bump this up, and my general rule is 3x plus each additional limper. It's generally going to be 240. However, in this situation, I make it 220 because I want to have, I want to make them feel like it's a little bit less so they can call and kind of like just trap them into the hand. Alright, and this player does like to call, and so does he. Kind of a scary flop. Gonna go ahead and take a look and see what happens. This player just jams all in. Huge overjam here. And basically what I'm going to be putting him on is, you could have anything from like, I don't know, 8s, 9s, you could have like the ace king with ace of hearts, or we could have jacks, queens, kings, and aces he's going to raise pre-flop. And that's pretty much the range I'm going to assign him, so we're just going to go ahead and snap call here. And he does have the queens, and to my surprise, he actually has the queen of hearts. I don't know why he would jam. It's definitely not a good play, because in reality, if you look at it, when you jam, you eliminate everything worse, and everything that beats you is going to be calling you. And kings definitely beats you, and it calls you, and I do hit the king on the turn, and we magically fade the river.